It was an autumn evening in 1987 when Detective Jonathan Graves received a letter that would change his life forever. The envelope was yellowed, the ink slightly smudged, as if the writer had been trembling while penning the words. It read, "If you're reading this, I may already be dead. Black Hollow Manor is not what it seems. The shadows whisper and the walls remember. Do not trust the mirrors, E. Caldwell." Jonathan had seen his fair share of hoaxes, but something about this letter sent a chill down his spine. The name Black Hollow Manor had been whispered for decades in hushed tones. A house abandoned, yet never empty. A house where people entered but rarely came out the same. His instincts told him to walk away. But curiosity, or perhaps something deeper, compelled him forward. He had to find out what happened at Black Hollow Manor. Black Hollow Manor stood on the outskirts of Raven's Peak, a decaying Victorian mansion swallowed by the overgrown forest. As Jonathan approached, the wind howled through the gnarled trees, carrying with it a whisper he could almost understand. The manor loomed over him like a predator sizing up its prey. Its windows, fractured like a spider's web, reflected nothing but darkness. A single raven perched on the rusted iron gate, watching him with unnerving stillness. Pushing past the gate, he felt an immediate change in the air. The world outside the manor seemed to dim, as if the house itself had drawn him into its own realm. He stepped onto the creaking porch and knocked once. The sound echoed unnaturally, as though the house were hollow. Then the door creaked open on its own. Jonathan entered cautiously, flashlight in hand. The interior was frozen in time, dust-covered furniture, portraits with eyes that seemed to follow him, and a grand staircase that spiraled into shadows. Then he heard it. A whisper. Faint at first, like the rustling of leaves, then clearer. "Go back!" His pulse quickened. The voice had come from the parlour. Slowly, he made his way inside. A large mirror stood against the wall, covered in a thick sheet. With a hesitant hand, he pulled the sheet away and saw himself. But not quite. His reflection stood there, identical yet wrong. The eyes were darker, the expression twisted in a way his own face never had been. Then his reflection blinked, but he hadn't. He stumbled backward just as a new whisper slithered through the air.
"He's watching!"
Jonathan steadied himself and turned away from the mirror, his heart pounding. He knew better than to let fear consume him. The house wanted him to be afraid. It fed on it. He needed to focus. Exploring further, he noticed a heavy wooden door at the end of the hallway, its brass handle rusted and cold to the touch. He twisted it, but it wouldn't budge. Locked. Then a soft knock came from the other side. 3 slow, deliberate taps. Jonathan stepped back, instinct telling him to leave it alone, but as he did, a child's voice echoed through the hall. "Help me." Swallowing his hesitation, he pressed his ear against the door. Silence. Then a scratching sound, like fingernails against wood. Something or someone was inside. He needed to find a way in. Searching the manor, Jonathan found a study filled with dust-covered books and aged papers. On the desk lay a leather-bound journal, its cover inscribed with the initials E.C. Eleanor Caldwell. Flipping through the pages, he read, October 13th, 1927. The house breathes. At night, I hear the footsteps in the halls, though I am alone. The mirrors shift when I turn my back. Father does not believe me. He says I am imagining things, but I know the truth. So something is trapped here with me. It watches. It waits. Jonathan tightened his grip on the book. Eleanor had lived here, and she had been afraid. But where was she now? As he continued reading, a sudden bang echoed through the house. The sound came from below. The basement! Gripping his flashlight, Jonathan followed the sound, his breath shallow. The basement door stood at the end of the hall, slightly ajar. The air was colder here, thick with the scent of damp earth and something metallic. Blood? He pushed the door open and descended the wooden steps. The deeper he went, the more the darkness seemed to press against him. At the bottom, he found himself in a stone-walled room lined with old shelves and broken furniture, and at the centre something lay on the ground. Bones, human remains, half buried beneath the dirt. Jonathan's stomach churned as he knelt down, brushing the soil away. Then from behind him he heard it, breathing. Slow, ragged, right at his ear. He spun around, but the room was empty. Then the whisper came again. You shouldn't have come. The basement door slammed shut, Jonathan's flashlight flickered, and shadows twisted unnaturally in the corners of the room. Then he saw her. A girl, no older than 12, her skin pale, her eyes hollow. "Eleanor Caldwell." "You have to leave," she whispered, "before he takes you too." Jonathan turned to run, but the shadows lunged, wrapping around his body like living tendrils. The last thing he saw was his own reflection in the mirror across the room. "Smiling!" Then darkness consumed him. Weeks later, Black Hollow Manor was silent once more. A new letter appeared in the town's post office. The ink was smudged, the paper aged, as if written by a trembling hand. "If you are reading this, I may already be dead. Black Hollow Manor is not what it seems. The shadows whisper, and the walls remember. Do not trust the mirrors. Jonathan Graves."